I think we're at a bit of a pivot point, to be quite honest. I do think of the last decade as being really quite profound in terms of creating change. If you'd had this conference 10 years ago, how many people would have turned up? How many people in the industry had the title architect? So there's been some absolutely profound changes. But the last decade has been largely a vendor-led SOA. You must do SOA for its own purpose, for its own objectives and goals. But clearly what's happening today is there's a real sea change happening. You know, and what's going on out there is really, really brutal. And I work with a lot of large enterprises, some of you guys included, that, you know, these quotes, there is no business as usual. We are focused on just getting our M&A finished. There is no business as usual. We've just wiped our entire EA team because, quite simply, they couldn't be seen to be delivering business value. These things are happening out there. And so, as we kind of look forward, we have to say that the economic imperative, which is going to drive our architectural work, is probably predominant. It's that we're actually going to need to dance to that particular tune. And there's an intense focus on cost reduction, very clearly. Post-recession, it's not going away. In fact, it's actually going to intensify. And you can see, as we come out of any recessionary period, what happens is the business never remains the same. It always changes, and competition becomes much more intense. Companies have slimmed down during the recession. They've really thought and fine-tuned their cost structures. And what I'm seeing now is a really intense focus on application modernisation, which is actually going, and I'm going to be talking about this afternoon, going at the existing portfolio and saying we can't afford this bloat and this huge cost. How do we get rid of this? So a lot of support for optimisation and innovation, but innovation where it's supporting cost reduction and innovation in terms of new business models and so on, which are going to be needed. And last and not least, the move to the cloud. Now, you're talking about this tomorrow, I know, but clearly it's a key part of where we're going. Getting ready for that is going to enable a lot of cost reduction, very clearly. So what are these business drivers? I'm not going to dwell on these, but I see post-merger M&A implementation, and it's driving things like multi-channel. In other words, creating common services that drive lots of different both business and technology channels. Creating common services, integrating to get a common customer view. I've been working with 3 banks over the last 12 months, and all of them are going aggressively for a common customer view. They don't have it yet, extraordinarily you might say, but they're going for it now, going SOA to do it. Demerger similarly, driving componentisation, but also driving processes that work across multiple companies. Cost reduction, key focus on modernisation. In other words, not just changing the technology, but restructuring, layering, standardising, creating standardised components that can be, and services which can be used in lots of different situations and contexts, and cloud deployment. Very important areas, specific business goals. In other words, things like reduce headcount, like increase, and it could be seat or unit cost or whatever profitability, or increase resource utilisation, or meet specific targets. And I'm seeing that very strongly, that is driving behaviour. And so instead of having an application, what you've got is an ecosystem which crosses conventional boundaries, which drives the scope of activity. Regulatory compliance, incredibly important. Everybody's talking about it. It drives standardised services. And last and not least, climate change, which is clearly driving us down smart systems, virtualisation, and collaborative processes. So lots of things going on that are driving this economic view that says we need to be doing things differently, and it's up to us as architects to think about how do we respond to that.